Good day everyone. I am Angel Mayragoro, B.Ed 2A. Today, we are going to explore one of the most interesting topic in physics. So, to make our lesson more exciting and easier to understand, we will use an interactive learning tools called Phet simulations. So, first, let's find our Google. And then, let's search natin yung Phet simulation. And here, the link, so i-click lang natin. So as you can see, interactive simulation for science and math. So as we scroll down here, so makita natin yung different branches of science, physics, chemistry, earth and space, biology. So makita rin natin yung math and statistics. So pwede natin itong gamitin sa ating discussion. So but today we will explore on physics. So, our simulation for today is called Forces and Motion Basics. So, through this, we'll explore how different forces affects movement of objects. We'll see how pushing and pulling as well as frictions and mass influence how objects move, stop, and change direction. So, but before we start, I have here an objectives at the end of the discussion. Students should be able to explain what happens when a force is applied to an object, describe how friction and mass affect an object motions, and use the Pith simulations to test how forces cause object to move or stop. So now let's click it into play. So as you can see, there are 4 tabs: net force, motion, friction, acceleration. But right now, let's start first in the net force. So as you can see, we can check it, and also we can use this people or this material. So let's start. Let's make the move. So walang nangyari because balance sila. So pag balance is no movement kasi they are the same force. Same yung force na ginagamit nila. But let's try to unbalance them. So read blue and big blue and small nga red. So let's try to go. So as you can see, na-pull yung big because hindi balance ang force na ginagamit nila. That caused movement or change in speed directions. Now, let's try to push the object harder. So what do you see? So the object move faster and farther. So when we increase the force, the speed of the object increase. So now let's try to stop a flying force and observe. So let's apply some force and stop. So what do you see? The object slowed down and eventually stopped moving. So why? What happened? So it because of the friction. Friction is the force that resists motions. It always acts in the opposite directions of movement. So if we stop pushing, friction keep working until the object move or until the object comes to stop. This is something we also experience in real life. For example, so when we push a toy car and floor, it move for a while, then slow down and stop. That friction work. So now let's make things more interesting. So now click the friction tab. So i-check natin to lahat. So you see the slider labeled friction. Move it from low to high. So let's move the object. So when the friction is high like a carpet, the object barely moves or stops quickly. But when the friction is low like an ice, so the object moves easily and slide farther. So there are differences. So when we push the object in a floor like a ice, so the object move easily and slide farther. But if we move the object, or if we try to move the object in the floor like a carpet, the object barely moves or madali lang siyang mag-stop. This helps us understand that friction can be both helpful and unhelpful and unhelpful. Helpful when we walk, unhelpful when it slows down machine or moving objects. So now let's move on the acceleration tab. So let's click the acceleration tabs. So here you see the mass of the object. So let's check this. So makita natin yung mass object 50 kg. So ang pinakamabigat is yung refrigerator, which is 20 kg. And ang hindi masyadong mabigat or hindi mabigat is yung girl is 40 kg. So now is mamili tayo ng lighter object like si girl. Then atin siyang i-push. So 340 Newton ang applied force natin. So now let's try the heavier object, and same lang na force ang gagamitin natin. So this is the refrigerator, the heavier object, which is 20 kg. So let's try. Pareha lang yung gagamitin natin na force. $375 or hindi siya 375, so 383. So hindi siya gumagalaw, hindi pareha sa girl na 375 is paspas na siya or move easily, madali lang siyang ma-move, hindi katulad ng refrigerator. So it means that the lighter objects move faster and easier, while the heavier one is harder to move. So because heavier objects need more force to accelerate. So let's try to move the heavier objects. So need niya ng 500 Newton para ma-move ang refrigerator na 200 kg. So now let's summarize what we observe in the simulations. Force causes motions. So when we push or pull an object, it moves because of the applied force. So friction resists motion. it slows down moving object and prevent from them from sliding forever. So heavy object requires more force to move while lighter ones move more easily, just like kanina na um, refrigerator which is 20 kg. So um, it requires it requires more force to move, hindi katulad ng girl na 40 kg na 375 force lang or newton yung ginamit is madali lang siyang na-pull. So, and the balance forces, no improvement because balance yung force na ginamit nila. And unbalanced forces causes movement or change in speed direction. So, sa kanilang pag-pull kanina sa first na pinakita ko is sa, 'di ba, pareha yung size yung tao. So, sa pag-pull nila kanina is same lang yung force na ginamit nila. But when I put the nung hindi ko na sila binalance yung red na malaki, I change it into a small. So, hindi na sila balance sa blue na malaki. So, it moves or change a speed direction. So, hindi na balance yung kanilang pagpupush. So, napunta sa blue na malaki yung object na kanilang pinupul. This simulation shows Newton law of motion in simple and visual way, helping us understand how force work in our everyday life. So, into this simulation, we learn that a force is only push or pull that we can change in object motions. Friction always acts in the opposite direction of motions. The mass of object affects how easily it can move. So, balanced forces keep objects still while unbalanced forces make them move. So, the Phet simulations help us see these invisible forces in actions, making physics more fun and understandable. So, it's like having a library right on your computer. Safe, interactive, and exciting. So, that's all for today. I hope you have learned. Thank you.